These data centers are becoming a scary situation because it's about to happen all across America. And I know we keep hearing about AI and these situations AI got going on, but it's safe to say that a lot of people are starting to not care for AI anymore. It's starting to become everyone's worst nightmare. Because in these videos I'm about to show you, I'm about to show you the real reason a lot of people believe these data centers are getting installed for. And it's not what you think.
Why do data centers need clean water? Why is it raising my electricity bill? It's come to my attention a lot of people don't actually know how data centers work. So let me explain to you top down how this is affecting you, the environment, and your wallet. For starters, you need to know that the internet is not something that's invisible, like a cloud that's floating in the air. Every single message you send on Facebook, every Google search, every generative AI slop picture you make has a tangible physical server that is in a warehouse that's called a data center. And this is what it looks like inside of a data center. It is a bunch of server blocks that are stacked on top of another that have CPUs, GPUs, TPUs, any sort of computer processing unit that accounts for you sending your Facebook message to your granny to make sure that she's okay every now and then. Here's where the water comes in. If you know anything about computers, maybe even your PS5, you've noticed, has gotten really hot and it starts to not work well. It's the same with computers and processing units and servers. Essentially, these data centers, they run 24/7, 365, put out an immense amount of energy and heat. And all that heat needs to be cooled down, which accounts for insane amount of HVAC, air conditioning, and water coolants. Essentially, they cool these units with cold water, and it has to be clean water. They'll cool them via tubing through the actual servers. They'll use a flat plate and inject it with clean water and cold water. Or sometimes data centers will even submerge these servers into water. And it has to be clean. You can't take lake or ocean water and run that through servers or submerge servers in that because A, they could be corrosive, or B, they could have contaminants like algae, other foreign material, and it will cause those servers to physically deteriorate. It will make those servers not work, it will break them. So it has to be clean and treated. And a lot of people don't know this, but they treat this water with a lot of chemicals, biocides. And a lot of these companies will dump those chemical materials into the environment. And here's why AI data centers are raising your electricity bill. There was a difference before between social media data centers or regular infrastructure data centers that we have been using for years and years. AI is a whole other industry that we have implanted into our infrastructure. It is essentially adding hundreds more data centers for this new industry. And this is why your electricity bill is higher. Because these centers put out so much demand for electricity, which these towns are not equipped to handle, the electricity company has to build new power stations, new transformers, new electricity lines. They have to do all of this physical infrastructure just to meet the demands of this data center. And that in turn goes back to your electricity bill. They need to pay for it somehow, which in turn they will just charge the customers more. So let's recap. It has to be your clean drinking water, or the poor servers will be hurt. Our energy infrastructure is not ready for this brand new industry, and those chemical pollutants are in the environment, and the heat put off from these data centers is hurting the environment. All in all, I hope this helps you better understand why specifically this is not going to be good for us.
And as you can see, that's why a lot of people are worried about these new data centers because they feel like it's going to cause a lot of health problems and situations are going to get worse and it's going to ruin a lot of people's lives. So it's being linked to diesel generators causing pollution, which can cause sickness in humans and animals. And a lot of people are reading these reports everywhere. And then it's causing noise pollution that can travel for 5 miles. Chickens are laying less eggs. Adults can possibly have a heart attack and things like that. So it's really not healthy. That's why people are just shocked that these data centers are trying to just pop up out of nowhere.
You may have already heard in the news that the county I live in has about 50 data centers or something like that, and they're asking people to start preserving power. On top of that, we're being asked to start preserving water. 50 data centers, at least, in this county. And mind you, our temperatures are about to hit an average of 120 degrees across the state. But you want us to preserve water and power so the data centers can run. And we're going to be the ones fitting the bill for all that power that gets used up. You know what? I am so sick and tired of all of this. I can't.
And it's just chaos everywhere. That's why we really don't need these data centers. And I don't think we're overreacting. This is just what we're seeing. And it's already enough air pollution as is. And you try to add on to that. So this is not the right idea. And that's why people are just shocked. Because it's one thing and then it's another. Then it seems like it's going to be a never ending cycle. And life was so much better without having to worry about AI. AI ruining your day. And do y'all think about the people who've been working 10 plus years at a factory? Their bodies giving out physically, they're mentally burnt out, and then a job they was working, they're about to be replaced by AI. What they're gonna do? Where they're gonna find a job? And you know when you get older, it'd be harder for companies to hire you. And it's just real. And that's a sad situation. We don't want no more upsets and heartbreaks and health problems due to these data centers. And that's just crazy. You shouldn't have to worry about this. They always putting the worry on us. And then when somebody vents and talk about their problems, they make them look like they're the bad person. But you're not. You didn't have to live your life like this. Everything was all fine and dandy. And here come AI to destroy your day. It's not the answer. It's not the solution. It seems like it's more of a problem according to the people. Because these reports that they're finding, it's not looking too good. And that's the sad part because that's why I think it's much deeper. They're using this to control us. It's all about control. They don't want the people to have rights anymore. They don't. And I know that's sad. That's just what I believe, and a lot of people believe that. But if you feel different and you think it's something different, leave it in the comments.
They build it next to a neighborhood, put all these diesel generators. These are not your normal diesel generators. Maybe half of this room is one generator. They're releasing all this pollution, this air pollution, but also the noise pollution with all of this. You know, I read a report where the noise pollution travels for 5 miles and it causes heart murmurs in kids. We're seeing heart attacks in adults. We're seeing early onset dementia in people. We are seeing reports that chickens lay 50% less eggs. We're seeing cases where horses no longer reproduce. We're seeing cases where cows, goats, and sheep lose 30% of their body weight.
This is crazy. I'm witnessing this with my own two eyes right now. I'm back in Michigan, and I'm north of a bunch of data centers. And the water here, all those miles north from where I am, from those data centers, is brown. There's brown water in the toilets, brown water in the sinks, brown data center water. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. It is no myth. And these people have to just deal with that? With their water just being brown? Once again, crimes against humanity. These are basic human rights. Because you best believe I'm going to say stay stinky today because I can't shower in that. No way.
They're thinking of another alternative to do with these data centers. They're trying to install a small data center unit in your house instead of having a giant data center next to your house or in the area. And that's why it's something strange, because why are they doing so much for a data center? And then they're trying to give you $22,000 a year to keep the data center, the small data center in your house, to cover the electric bill. But in reality, it's going to be some type of situation or something that they're leaving out that they're not telling you. They're saying that it's going to cover the expenses to have that data center there, and it's for your own good. But I don't think this is going to help us in no kind of way. Because if the bill increases, I bet you they won't cover that. You're going to have to be responsible for it. And can you just imagine? You just got to look at a data center in your house. You didn't want one in your neighborhood. Now you got to look at one in your own house. And they telling you that it's going to help you. It's not going to help you. It's only there to benefit them, I believe. And a lot of people believe this. I don't think it's going to be a big difference that they're portraying it to make. I think it's just going to affect a lot of people, just mentally. And then you don't know what it's going to do physically. That's why a lot of people are terrified, and a lot of people don't want these data centers.
So these punks right here came by because I'm trying to organize a community protest against a representative who's trying to push in a data center owned by a out-of-state company, trying to suck up all our energy. I made a post, I made an event on Facebook trying to organize the community to get together. And what's your badge number? Name and badge number?
Detective Ensign.
And name and badge number?
Sharp. SHRP, and it's 160.
Okay, yeah.
So
No, I have a First Amendment right to protest, and if I organize a protest on a public road, there's nothing wrong with that. I sent an email to that representative, and I can show you the email. I never made a threat. I told, no, this is my house, and I'm gonna talk. You guys are on my property trying to intimidate me because I'm organizing a protest against a data center. Then why are you here?
Well, that's, if you let me. Okay, so first off, do you want to talk about this?
Talk about what? There's nothing to talk about. I'm organizing a protest, and I'm allowed to do that. It's a First Amendment protected activity.
I agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
The issue is some of the communication, the Facebook posts. I would disagree that there's.
I haven't made a single threat. Tell me what threat I made.
Okay, well, you know what you posted.
No, give me a quote me. Quote a threat, because I didn't make one. I'm organizing a protest on a public street, demanding a representative.
What about the safety of his children?
Huh?
What about the safety of his children?
Someone else made a comment about the safety of his children.
Did you?
No.
You didn't?
No, what I said if he valued his children's safety, he probably wouldn't be trying to ruin the world that they're being brought up on. And that isn't a threat. That's the fact that I'm watching this man ruin the world around here. And yes, I'm allowed to say that if someone cares about their kids, they shouldn't destroy the community that their kids are being raised in. That's not a threat.
The problem is you didn't say that in the post.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Pull it up. Pull it up and read it.
Looked at it.
Pull it up and read it.
I've been dealing with this all afternoon.
Cool. Pull it up and read it.
Okay. So that's the concerning part is obviously, yes, you have the right to make an event, you have the right to public protest, everything else, right? But
I never made a threat.
Okay. Well, we disagree, and our state's attorney disagrees. Okay, so you're going to be charged today for a couple of offenses.
Seriously? I'm going to get charged for what?
For stalking and intimidation.
For stalking? When did I ever go to his house?
So we'll explain that to you more. Okay, so you are going to be placed under arrest right now, okay? All right.
Okay,
so
let me
conclude your live stream.
Wow.
We need you to stay here with you.
Or these data units in their house. Because it just don't make sense to have that. And then a lot of people be having a lot of things in their house. They may be having pets, animals, and it may not be good. That's why a lot of farmers was turning down these data centers. Because they don't want nothing like this. They don't think it's going to make situations better. And people feel like it's not going to make situations better because a lot of wealthy companies and wealthy people are getting behind it. And that's why they believe. They believe it's not going to be any good if the wealthy is investing with this. And people have a right to believe what they want to believe. They have their reasons. But let me know, do you really think that this is going to help you? Because there's a lot of things that's about to happen that people are not prepared for. So y'all better start becoming prepared. Because if y'all don't, it's going to change drastically. And people are still trying to come up with solutions. They're trying to see will these solutions work. But I think they should just keep less data centers as possible. We survived this long without it. So why now? And it's just affecting everybody. And then they say it's a company called NVIDIA that's going to be behind this. And a lot of people had their doubts because of this and the situations that keeps occurring. And it's just not right. And having a data center at your house is not the answer. There's got to be another way. This is just crazy.
So I'm not sure if anyone else has heard about this, but apparently NVIDIA is teaming up with Span, I think it's called. It's some development company. And what they want to do is, instead of having big data centers, they want to attach a little piece of the data center to your house. I'm not kidding. Basically, they want to put like a small unit, and by small, I mean about like the size of like 2 or 3 air conditioners, on the side of your house, filled with all their equipment to make your house a small data center. And how I saw this pitched was, we'll give you $22,000 to do this. And I'm sitting here like, or $22,000 a year to be specific. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Well, the whole world's already going to crap. And this might be slightly better than building giant data centers. And I started looking into it. Yeah, here's the problem. The $22,000 is to cover the electrical usage of this thing that they want to put on your property. It's not like, hey, we'll pay for everything and then give you $22,000 for the inconvenience of having this crap on your property. No. It's to cover the electrical cost. Also, apparently you are responsible for any damage incurred by having this data center put on your property. Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. So you allow them to create noise pollution right next to your place. I assume this is going to have to tap into your water main so it can be cooled. It uses your electricity, and they're giving you enough money to cover its operational costs. Oh, and I almost forgot. They're going to put a giant electrical battery, somewhere on your property, probably your garage, so that if there's excess electricity from the solar panels that they're also going to install in your place, that it gets first priority on, that it has that as storage for its power usage. Every part of this stinks. Like, I was really hoping this would be like, oh, well, okay, if they're gonna make this so I'm getting an extra $22,000 a year, I mean, that would help with home repairs and home maintenance. It would be one of those things of, maybe there's a way that they're gonna, reduce the noise that comes out of this thing, reduce the water usage, reduce the power requirements, all that. No, not even close. This is we're gonna do this, you're gonna put up with it, here's $22,000 to maybe cover the cost. And here's the thing, again, as I said, you're responsible for the damages. So if somebody in your neighborhood sees this thing and goes, well, there's graphics processing units in there, man, those are big money, and they break into your system to steal your stuff, you're on the hook for it. Yeah, that's not going to be cheap. Even if some drug addict comes in there just to steal the copper out of the damn thing, the amount that you're on the hook for is insane. There's no point of this. Do not go for this. This is not worth it. And I would assume that at that point, it's a case of you will never be able to take a vacation ever again, because you're on guard duty now. And they're not going to pay for the guard dog that you're going to have to buy to protect this damn thing. You see how this escalates? And escalates quickly? Don't put AI data centers on your property.
And a lot of us were misguided. We were wrong on something. Because after I was seeing this video and I started to do some research, it was shocking what I found out. I found out that data centers don't just need water. That's what they want to do because it would be cheaper for them to use water. They just need something to cool it down. So if they want to get anything to cool it down instead of using water, it's going to cost them more money. And that kind of makes sense because just think about it. When somebody in a business to make money, they try to keep their expenses less as possible for their benefit. Meaning that they don't care if the product is quality or not. They just want to make more money. That's what a lot of companies do when it comes to just things in general. And I do like to give a shout out to the companies who do value their work and their product, and they don't try to take the easy, cheapest way out. But a lot of companies want to take the cheapest, easy way out. And that's what a lot of people believe. Because as you can see, everything is about a profit. That's why the fun is getting taken away from things that you used to value as fun. Because they want to make profit out of everything. Everything comes with a price now. And that's crazy. You can't have fun anymore. And these data centers are starting to ruin people's lives. Because now they're going to feel like you're going to need to survive with a data center. That's what they're going to try to make it seem like. When you were surviving for years without a data center, they're going to try to convince you that a data center is what you need. It's always something. And like how she was saying in this video, she want to make a lot of solutions. She want to, say, build the data center in a cooler environment. She want to do all this. But a lot of people is not going to listen to her. Rich people do not listen to people. They don't listen to the public. Nobody values our opinion anymore. And that's terrifying. That's sad. Because what has this country come to? The people don't matter no more. And that's a sad situation because we all should matter. And that's why it's just getting crazy because you don't know what's next. And the cost of living is just steady increasing. And people are furious about this. Because at the end of the day, just ask yourself, do you really think a data center is going to make your life better?
So something that I feel like more people need to know, data centers don't actually need water. They need cooling systems. And they're using water because it's the cheapest way to do it. Yeah, data centers, they generate like a shitload of heat. And if the heat's not removed somehow, the servers will overheat and it all stops working. So when people are hearing like AI is consuming millions of gallons of water, we're all just assuming it's like this unavoidable part of the technology, but that's actually not true. And it almost is like worse. They don't need water. They're just doing this for no fucking reason because it's the cheapest option. They need cooling. There are alternatives. And I've wrote a few of them down. There's immersion cooling systems. They can literally submerge servers in a specifically designed synthetic fluid that absorbs heat. There's dielectric coolants that can circulate through equipment without conducting electricity. There's closed loop cooling systems that recycle coolant instead of constantly consuming fresh water. Dry cooling systems that use the air instead of evaporation. I don't know, I could pay people to blow on them to cool them off before wasting our water. Another thing, companies can even build data centers in colder climates to reduce cooling demands in the first place. The technology exists, is my point. The issue is that many of those alternatives that I just explained to you are more expensive. And that's the part that I think is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting they're wasting all the water. What's more interesting is they don't have to waste the water. Ordinary people, we're always told, like, conserve our water, take shorter showers and water your lawn less, follow drought restrictions, be mindful of your water consumption. Meanwhile, some of the wealthiest corporations on earth are consuming enormous amounts of water because it's the cheapest way to cool their infrastructure. There's a difference between something that's necessary and something being the cheapest option available. When a human uses water, it's because they will die without it. When a data center uses water, it's because somebody in a boardroom ran the numbers and decided it was the most cost-effective cooling method. Who cares about the drinking water? The data centers. And I think that's a conversation that's worth having. Because if water is essential for human life, maybe human beings should have priority access to water before the latest AI model does. Just a thought.